Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the show that never ends. I am Rod, your happy hippie. I raise my red eye to you. It's Friday evening when I'm filming this. This is a page right out of the Odd Box Topper handbook. He's famous for making his red eyes and tomato juice and beer, a little salt and pepper. This is a contest entry for Rachel, the Music Mams. I guess it's a 300 sub contest. When she started it, it was like a 250 sub contest, but she's right at the 300 mark now. So congratulations, Rachel, the Music Mam. This is actually my second video I've done today. The first one I did, it was a thread response for a video that thread that Elliot Cruz had started called Introducing the Band, in which he showed 5 albums, 5 CDs live, you know, where somebody was introducing the band and how they went about doing it. Well, I showed Jimi Hendrix at the Monterey Pop Festival, and I featured Brian Jones bringing him on stage, and that got me a block from YouTube. I talked to Rachel about it, and she said there's a difference between a strike and a block, and I did not know that. It was just blocked. It wasn't a strike, so I'm lucky for that. Anyway, like I said, this is my second video of the day. This one is for Rachel, and it's 3 easy questions. The first one is name a place that we've been or would like to go involving music. Like she said, she was at the Hollywood Bowl and was able to get up on the same stage that the Beatles once played, and that's pretty cool. For me, a place I'd like to go is 710 Ashbury Street, San Francisco, California, USA. And most of you know what that is. That was the Grateful Dead home. They occupied that residence from 65 through 68 or maybe 69. I think it would be really cool to see. It's privately owned now, and about a year or two ago, Bob Weir, on a documentary about him, they allowed him in and the film crew in the house, and they showed what it looks like now. The new owners, I mean, they have it looking so elegant. It's such a beautiful house, you know. But he was talking about, well, back in the day, this was Pigpen's room, and that was where Garcia slept, and this room just had a bunch of mattresses on the floor, and so it's come a long way from that. But it'd be cool to see the outside of that. Another thing I'd like to see is in Connecticut, at Union Cemetery in eastern Connecticut. It's the grave, the final resting spot of Johnny Winter, who was my favorite guitar player, one of my favorite guitar players out there. And he's a Texas-born blues musician who happened to be living in Connecticut when he passed, and that's where his remains are. It'd be cool to see that grave. I would say Jerry Garcia's grave, but he was cremated, and his ashes, half of them were put in the water underneath the Golden Gate Bridge, and the other half of his ashes were put in a river in India. I forget what river it is. But anyway, I'd like to see Johnny Winter's grave, the Grateful Dead house, Neil Young's house in Canada. Rachel, she lives up there. I wonder if she's ever driven by Neil Young's house. Anyway, that's a couple of the places I'd like to see. Only place really famous I could say I went to was, I've been at the Twist and Shout in Maryland, Wheaton, Maryland. If you remember back in the 90s, what country singer had a song about the Twist and Shout? Anyway, it's a little dive bar. I could say I've been there. I was at the second Hard Rock Cafe back when there were only 2. There was one in London, one in Los Angeles, and I was at the one in Los Angeles when there was only 2 of them, and this was back in like '82. But that was the first question. Name a place musically related that you've been or would like to go. Now, if I could time travel, man, it would be the summer of love, 1969, San Francisco, California. But we haven't figured that out yet, how to time travel. Probably never will. Second question, how did your channel get its name? How did it get its handle? Mine is the Happy Hippie, and I'm going to show you something here. This was a different incarnation of the Happy Hippie. Happy Hippie, Mantiques. A friend of mine made me this. This is back when I was flea marketing a lot. In fact, that's what I was doing for a living. Happy Hippie has just been a handle I've used. Don't know exactly why I came up with it. I remember one time when I was managing restaurants for a living, some guy called, and I answered the phone. He was pissed off, and he didn't know it was me he was talking to, because he goes, "That damn hippie manager of yours," blah, blah, and just, I thought it was funny. Anyway, Happy Hippie is just something that I refer to myself as. And you know, I've had people in the VC, at least 2 different people, ask me, "Well, you can't be a hippie, man. You're too young. You're too young to be a hippie." Well, hippie is a state of mind. It's not about smoking weed or, you know, listening to a certain type of music or dressing a certain way. Doesn't matter how old you are. If you believe that racial prejudice is wrong, sexual discrimination, in fact, discrimination against any kind, sex, gender, it's wrong. And if you believe that love is stronger than hate and peace is better than war, you may be a hippie too. It has nothing to do with how you wear your hair or where you're from or what year you were born. So, I am the Happy Hippie, and this is the Happy Hippie YouTube channel. So, that's how I got my name. The third and final question, and this is really subjective, but it's really a tough one to come up with because there's so many beautiful songs out there. I'm going Ripple by the Grateful Dead. I'm going to go with the studio version of it. You could go with the live version. They're all great. Ripple, the Grateful Dead. Absolutely a beautiful song written by Robert Hunter and Jerry Garcia. And I've said it on my show before, on my videos before. It kind of reminds me of my oldest daughter. There's a part of the song where he goes, "There's a road you must travel and I cannot come. It's a road you must travel alone." And I'm paraphrasing. I butchered that, but it's a really beautiful song. It's a wonderful song. Grateful Dead, Ripple is my pick. But I could have went with anything. The Beatles, some beautiful music they wrote. Absolutely beautiful music. Jim Croce, Time in a Bottle, is to me a great song. Anyway, this is for Rachel, the Music Ma'am, her channel. She's up in Canada. She's only been at it like freaking 3 months, 4 months. I've started watching her when she only had like 100 subs, and she has just blossomed. She's really a great part of the VC community. So check her out, guys, if you haven't seen her. Again, I hope everyone's doing great. I'm filming this on a Friday evening. I'm enjoying a red-eye Oddbox topper. I stole this from you. You shared the recipe, so I had to try it. In fact, my brother made it for me. I told him about it. He's like, "Oh yeah, red eye." He made me my first one a couple years ago. Well, that was it. I got this in just about 10 minutes. If you haven't noticed, I don't like to do long videos. I don't have the concentration span for it, for one thing. I ran out of stuff to say for another, but I had to jump on this. And I kind of pushed to the last minute. I think she draws the winner May 1st. So jump on board in this contest. Peace.